It's the second event of the season for the Safety Devices Gas Shocks Compact Cup, and it takes place on the 1.2 mile Indy circuit at Brands Hatch in Kent. With a double win at Donington, David Drinkwater heads the point standings coming into round 3 of the championship, but current title holder Steve Roberts hopes to return to form here. Before racing got underway, I met up with a newcomer to the series and one of the drivers returning in 2014. Farad Darva here at Brands Hatch for the second meeting of the season of the Compact Cup. The first was at Donington. How was that for you?
Oh, Donington was absolutely fantastic. It was a dream start for me to the season. Qualifying top 10 and then getting a sixth in the first and a fifth in the second. It's fantastic, yeah.
You're now coming into your third season of racing in the Compact Cup. What are your ambitions and expectations for this year?
For this year, to be honest, I would like to finish in the top 10. That's what I'm aiming for. Is that I think 3 years I've cut my teeth, learnt the circuit, improved myself, and got to know the car a bit more. So hopefully it'll be a top 10.
Absolutely. And Brands Hatch this weekend, is this a circuit that you enjoy?
Brands Hatch is a circuit I think everyone enjoys for different reasons. It's a nice short circuit. It puts the racing really down to the driver, nice and tight. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it, and I'm going to enjoy it.
And you've obviously got this pretty unique camouflage livery on the car. Tell us a little bit about that.
It helps me get around the corners actually, because I can cut them and no one knows where I've gone. I just rejoin the track. No, it's obviously I'd like to promote Army Motorsport as much as possible. You know, it's the British Army Motorsport Association has been going for years, but circuit racing is actually quite new. So anything I can do to raise the profile of Army Motorsport, to show people that it's there, it exists. Possibly, it might help people want to join, and for those that are serving to realise it's there.
And we're hearing quite a busy awning as well here, running with the team as well.
Yeah, no, I'm running with AW Track Sports, and Andy Waters has been absolutely fantastic this year. And the car is down to him. It's as simple as that. I wouldn't be where I am if it wasn't for AW Track Sports. So it's a huge thanks to them.
Declan McDonald, you've had success in Mighty Minis and low cost, and most recently you raced in Formula V 4 years ago. So what brings you back to the circuits this year?
Well, we came down to Brands this time last year and came down to watch the stock hatch racing and saw the Compact Cup and thought the series just looked absolutely brilliant. The cars are well prepped. Started talking to some of the drivers and had a word with Paul. And just decided to dust off the old race suit and come back and have a look at it. It just looks like such a well-prepared series.
Absolutely, sort of more than 40 cars out there this weekend, as there was at Donington Park last time out. How was Donington for you?
It went surprisingly well actually, because we really only just finished the car beforehand, had no real pre-season testing. Did one practice session beforehand, and I'd never driven on the Melbourne GP track before. To qualify 8th and then get a 5th and a 4th in the 2 races was a lot more than we expected to do, to be honest. We've had a few issues with the car, with brakes and stuff like that, so we're still trying to dial some kind of setup in it, but Donington was a great result.
Here at Brands, the sun's out at the moment, but there's more rain possibly expected later on. That's going to present some new challenges for you.
Yeah, it has. We've just had qualifying in damp, wet conditions, and it's the first time I've really driven the car in the wet, so I don't think we've qualified as well as we'd have liked. I think we're down in 8th in session. On these tyres there's not a lot of grip, so you have to really let the car drift and try and feel for where the car's at, so very much a learning experience for me. Today we'll see how the weather plays out, and hopefully it's for me I hope it stays dry, but I'm expecting some rain.
Well, Worcester-based driver Simon Roach had a 10th and 15th place finish in the opening 2 rounds of the championship at Donington. Good drives though, because both of them came from the back of the grid. So would he have a good qualifying session at Brands Hatch? The answer is definitely not. Ending the session on his roof. Fortunately though, Simon was okay, able to get out of the car, and more importantly, the car was able to get out for both of its races later on in the day. As at Donington Park, the entry is so large here at Brands Hatch that the field has had to be split into 3 groups. First up, it's Group B versus Group C. On the front row we'll have Alex Dew and Alan Kirkcaldy. Row 2, Daniel Kirby and Michael Gray. Mike Tovey and Neil Roach on row 3. Drivers further back than they would expect to be though: David Drinkwater on row 4, Farad Darva on row 6, and Kevin Denwood on the 9th row. Red lights are on then. It's 13 minutes plus 1 lap ahead of us. As the race gets underway, a great start there by Daniel Kirby from the second row of the grid. Look at him slotting between the two front row men to grab the lead down in towards Paddock Hill Bend for the first time. Alex Dew was quite slow away, but he's got back into second place now, with Kirkcaldy down to third position. Someone a little bit out of shape there as he made his way through Paddock Hill Bend, and someone else is sideways and spinning. And that is the number 24 car, I think, of Richard Miles that has gone around and he's collected one other car, someone else going off in avoidance as well. I think that's the 71 car of Adam Reed that's just about resuming the circuit now. Also caught up was number 90 at Nicholas Hill as well, I think that was. There is Feroz Darva with that fantastic police livery on his BMW compact, but look, it's Daniel Kirby with the lead of the race. Alex Dew in second position, and side by side a bit further back, I think that was James Winstanley going wheel to wheel with Feroz Darva there. But look, 24, Richard Miles out of his car at the foot of Paddock Hill Bend. He can't get it started again, and it's stuck on the track. So that is going to be a real problem, I think, as the leaders are about to come through to complete their first lap. And yes, you can see marshals there warning the drivers to slow down. The red flags are out, the race being stopped just in the nick of time there before the leaders arrived on the scene. And there was no option really but to have a red flag for that race as the disconsolate Richard Miles trudges away from the scene. Here's another look at what happened. Look for the black car, 2/3 of the way down the pack. He got sideways, spun around, hit the 71 Adam Reed car, and going off in avoidance as well was Nicholas Hill. He was all over the grass but did continue. The only one not able to restart, I don't think, was that number 24 car, which was Richard Miles. This is the on-board view from David Drinkwater. He started 7th on the grid this time, but frustration because he was absolutely swallowed up by the pack. I'm sure he won't be too sorry to have seen the red flags fly, because he lost places to virtually half of the field there, didn't he? I'm sure he would have come back through, but hopefully he'll make a better start at the second time of asking. Well, Richard Miles has in fact made it onto the grid for the restart, which will be over a slightly shortened distance. 10 minutes plus 1 lap is what we are expecting. The red lights go out, away we go. Oh, and poor Dan Kirby, who made such a fantastic start before, has made a rather tardy start this time, and it's Mikey Gray with the Scottish Saltire on his roof that jumps ahead of him. He goes up into third place, and in actual fact it might be another place lost for Dan Kirby as well, because attacking him around the outside there is Neil Roach for Feroz Darva there, going wide in the police car over the curb at Paddock Hill Bend. As we go on board with David Drinkwater, who has made a better start this time, but look, Dan Kirby to the left of the picture, he was running a little bit wide there. Back into our shot now as they head down towards Graham Hill Bend. Drinkwater, who's the double winner at Donington Park, leads the championship coming into this meeting, using a little bit too much of the track there maybe. Has a bit of work to do from 7th on the grid here. We've got Kirby there with Drinkwater and Winstanley just behind him as the rest of this field. I think 30 cars took the start of this race, filtering their way through. Well, here's Kevin Denwood, 5th in the championship last year, but starting 17th on the grid here. Be expecting to be able to make up some places during the course of this session. Cars making their way along the start and finish straight towards Paddock Hill Bend for the second time. We go back to the leader, and it is Alex Dew that leads the race then from Alan Kirkcaldy, the Scottish driver, in second position, and it's a third driver, or the third place driver is a second Scotsman, that's Mikey Gray, and it's side by side for 4th and 5th positions. That looks like Mike Tovey and Neil Roach having a good old scrap there for 4th and 5th positions. Both of them went pretty well in the opening round of the championship as well. So not too much of a break being made by the race leader at this point. That is Alex Dew in car number 3, 3rd in the championship last year for the 28-year-old motorsport training professional from Oxfordshire. The red and blue stripe on the black car in 3rd position, that is Mikey Gray, driver who's come down from Edinburgh. Started racing at the age of 16 in Scottish Formula Ford 1600 in 2010, so there's a few drivers with Formula Ford 1600 in this field, not least of which is Alan Kirkcaldy, who's in second place, up ahead of Mikey Gray. But it's Dew that leads, who cut his teeth in stock hatch racing and then did Clio's for a bit. He's raced in the Britcar 24-hour race as well. Neil Roach there in 5th place gets a good run out of Paddock Hill Bend, brings him alongside Mikey Gray, but that didn't work out. In actual fact, I think that's Mike Tovey now that's made his way up into 3rd position. car number 35, the graduate from the production BMW Championship. Let's have another look at that. No, it is still Mikey Gray there in 3rd place, Tovey in 4th, Neil Roach in 5th, Dan Kirby is 6th, and David Drinkwater is in 7th position, car number 77. And from Farnborough in Hampshire, started out racing like Alex Dew in stock hatch around about a decade ago. He's been in compacts since 2012, a regular in this Safety Devices Gas Shocks Compacts Cup. Well, Tovey has now got ahead of Mikey Gray and up into 3rd position. Gray there down to 4th. He's a student, and he's under threat here from Neil Roach, car number 81. Another student wrote his car off in the first race of the season here at Brands Hatch in 2013. That was the car that he raced in 2012, so it's a new car that Neil has had since then. His first podium finishes at Cadwell Park towards the end of 2013. No doubt that gave him fresh confidence for the 2014 campaign. He's looking to take 4th place away from Gray here, showing his nose to Gray on the run down the Cooper Straight in towards the left-hander at Surtees. Go on board now with Alan Kirkcaldy, who's our 2nd place man. It's Alex Dew that's ahead of us. Kirkcaldy in car number 11. It's Formula Ford racer. Raced at tracks around the country, including Brands Hatch. Focusing this season on compacts both north and south of the border. Side by side further back, Neil Roach has got the inside line here for Paddock Hill Bend, and he takes 4th place away from Michael Gray. David Drinkwater in the red car is on the scene as well. Dan Kirby is a little bit out of shape further back. The car dealer from Chelmsford, who was 14th in the championship last year, he's running in 7th place at the moment. On board here with Drinkwater then. It's Michael Gray ahead. Gray in car 19, 20-year-old. Finds his way through Graham Hill Bend, and Drinkwater, who certainly will have been grateful for that restart, because he had a solid rather than spectacular getaway 2nd time around. First time it was just back down the order. And now it looks to me as if Mike Tovey in 3rd place is putting all kinds of pressure on Alan Kirkcaldy for 2nd position. And is this going to allow Alex Dew to get away, I wonder? Over the start and finish line they go once more. Yes, certainly has got a few car lengths advantages there over Paddock Hill Bend, this time over a new 2nd place man, because Mike Tovey slots his way through on the inside at Paddock Hill Bend. Kirkcaldy down to 3rd position then, and Neil Roach is looking to get up into the podium places as well. He's got his nose alongside that of Kirkcaldy, but it's the long way round at Druids. Kirkcaldy takes the line down into Graham Hill Bend. He doesn't allow Roach to get alongside him there. Roach now side by side with Michael Gray, who's going to let David Drinkwater get through here if he's not too careful. Yes, he has done, and Drinkwater will have the line for Surtees as well. So losing another position there, down to 6th goes Mikey Gray. Drinkwater sees Neil Roach get very sideways ahead of him, but he corrected it. Rear wheel drive BMW E36 compacts, the cars built between 1994 and 2001. 1.9 litre 16 valve engines with the Superchips control ECU. Now someone's in trouble there, and that's the Gas Shocks car. It's number 40, isn't it? Which makes it Warren Gazzard himself. There we have the number 27 car, which is Jonathan Davis chasing after Jim Benson in the 59 car, the man from London, the commodities trader. They're both just behind that yellow practical performance car entered compact of James Winstanley, heading down towards Graham Hill Bend, and there's a couple more cars behind them as well. It's a congested track with 30 of these compacts on the 1.2 mile Indy circuit. And Kevin Denwood, who started well down the order on row 9, is still not where he'd like to be. He's well outside the top 10 at the moment as he makes his way through Surtees and McLaren now towards Clearways, and someone off up ahead. And it's the silver car, so that's Jim Benson, isn't it? So he's had a moment. The pressure from Jonathan Davis therefore telling on him. There you can see Kirkcaldy just ahead of Neil Roach and David Drinkwater. So that's 3rd, 4th and 5th. The leader is a bit further up ahead. Here's James Winstanley again ahead of Jonathan Davis, the 18-year-old motorsport engineering student from Market Deeping, a karting winner in the past. Oh, and someone go through the gravel. It's Feroz Dava. into the barriers at the foot of Paddock Hill Bend. And hopefully there's not too much damage on that car. It was a relatively light side-on kiss into the tyre wall. So there'll be yellow flags now at Paddock Hill Bend to protect that. Whether the marshals will be looking to recover that car before the end of this race, we'll wait and see. There is Alex Dew with Mike Tovey right behind him now. They've had to battle their way through traffic. Problems, I'm afraid, for the number 71 car. The Skegness Tyres and Exhaust Centre entered machine of Adam Reed. He was involved in that incident on the first start. It looks like his race is about to be run. I think Dew and Tovey have now managed to get through most of those back-marking cars. There's still one or two that they'll need to negotiate, though, before this race is up. These are always tense times for the drivers because it can really change the course for a race. Tovey and Dew both fairly experienced now, though, with different racing backgrounds. Going on to their final lap. Tovey new to the Compact Cup this season. It's only his second meeting in this car, the first being at Donington Park, where he acquitted himself very well, had a best finish of 4th place there up in Leicestershire. On board we go with Kirkcaldy, who sees, is that a mistake from Dew there that lets Tovey get alongside him? Is that a back mark? It's a back mark that they've both got past in actual fact, isn't it? So Kirkcaldy in 3rd place makes it through as well. Still Dew up ahead then. Oh, and locking it up on the way into the hairpin is Warren Gazard, so he's having an eventful old race. I wonder if he's got a problem with the car. So Dew is soaking up the pressure from Mike Tovey here. It's almost physical pressure now on the rear of his car. They're making their way out of Clark Curve onto the Brabham Straight. Checkered flag is about to be waved, and it's being waved to Alex Dew for his first win in the 2014 Safety Devices Gas Shocks Compact Cup. So Dew it is that takes the win from Tovey. Kirkcaldy has come across the line in 3rd position, but a great race with battles down the order after that restart because of that incident on the first corner. Here is the result then. Alex Dew winning by less than a quarter of a second from Mike Tovey. Kirkcaldy, Neil Roach, David Drinkwater and Michael Gray complete the top 6. Further back, Daniel Kirby, well, he'll be ruining the restart. He finished 7th, ahead of Bryce Greenwood, Jonathan Davis and Tim Gibson. Alex, congratulations, another win at Brands Hatch, one of your more successful circuits, I think.
Yeah, no, it was sort of a bit of an unknown coming in here. Obviously, this morning it was wet, so you never know what it's going to throw at you. But you know, to be sort of starting on pole to begin with of this race, second on the next one, it was a great way to start the weekend. And all credit to the people that have been helping me, but more importantly, obviously LED Lenser, who have been my biggest asset this season. And yeah, hopefully from now we'll go into the second race, and with a good start, we'll back that up with another one. But you know, as long as I stay consistent, you know, and I'm sort of fighting for the top 3, we'll just go from there.
Mike, congratulations on second position, and it's still only your second meeting, isn't it, in the compacts?
Yeah, second reign into the Compact Cup. Brilliant championship to be in, some brilliant drivers. I'm just grateful to be at the front battling with these boys, and to get a podium. A podium this season was my aim. We got there, so let's try and get the win next, I think.
And had to make some progress in that race as well. You started only on 5th.
Yeah, I started P5. I mean, the red flag start, I had a better start than the actual second race. Boxed in, but I made it through, picked through people off, through 30s and clearways and that, and yeah, it was good. Just needed one more lap, I think.
Alan, 3rd place, another podium finish for you in the Compact Cup.
Yeah, delighted with that result. It's been a long time since I was here, probably about 13 years. Last time I was in a Formula Ford, so a wee bit different, but delighted with a 3rd place. Helps out with the championship too.
Absolutely. Now you're going to be focusing on the English Championship, because you also got the championship north of the border as well.
Yeah, well, we do have one clash. I think it's quite late on in the year, so I can determine what I'm going to do later in the year, but hopefully I'll do all the English rounds. And it is really competitive this season, isn't it? Oh yeah, the front racing there is amazing. Nowhere you go, there's always something happening on the track, so great racing.
Excellent. Okay, Mark Gazard of Gas Shocks with me here, continuing the association with the Compact Cup.
Yes, I mean, unbelievable. So proud to be involved with it. I mean, it's going from strength to strength. 48 cars out this weekend. I mean, could not be more pleased. I mean, Paul's doing a fantastic job. Drivers doing great. What more can we say? Excellent.
And it's looking even more competitive this year than it was last year, isn't it?
Very competitive, yeah. I think that's why I've given it up. It was just the driving, the standards are so great. The speeds, just what they're doing now is. I'm glad I'm on this side of the fence, tell you.
Yeah. And there's lots of new people coming into it, which is really encouraging as well.
Yes, a lot of drivers from other formulas are now coming into it. They've realised that this is the formula to be in. You know, it's the largest one-make series now, growing in the country. And you know, if they want to be anybody, want to do anything, this is the series you've got to be in now.
I guess a day like today, when you've got the sun out at the moment, but showers forecast, it's one of those days when you want to be on the spectator side of the fence rather than behind the steering wheel, isn't it?
Yes, I just spoke to my brother Warren, who's just done his qualifying. Very sweaty palms, and he wasn't very happy, but he kept it in one piece, unfortunately, like one of the race guys. But yeah, I'm glad I'm this side.
Okay, Eric Zaleski, you're here now in your second season in the Compact Cup, but you joined it last year. Tell us how you got involved.
Well, yeah, racing was always my biggest dream, and since a child I wanted to become a racing driver. So basically, I've met Paul the year before in 2012. Always looking for a rear-wheel drive car, so basically bought the compact, built it myself, and racing now in my second season.
How did you get on with your first season last year?
Well, it was quite successful, I would say. I finished every single race, and I finished 13 overall, so I was, I think, second or third rookie, so I'm pretty pleased with that.
And we've already had one round of the championship this year at Donington Park. How did that go for you?
Extremely well, I must say, because I actually done my personal best, 15.8 in both races, and I've been awarded a couple of weeks after. I've been awarded the Driver of the Day, which I'm hoping to receive today, to be perfectly honest.
And here at Brands Hatch, what are your hopes for this weekend here?
Well, my hopes are to get a bit more drier than there was in qualifying, but I've done a good testing day on Friday, and I'm really got the big expectations. I've qualified, I think, top 10 now. So if I can keep it in top 10, maybe squeeze top 5, that would be fantastic.
Group C versus Group A up next then, and it's Alan Kirkcaldy on pole position for this one, with Steve Roberts next to him, his first outing of the day. Michael Gray and Eric Zaleski are on row 2, he qualified very well indeed. Row 3, Neil Roach and Simon Roach, the two brothers, with Simon getting the car out after it rolled in practice. Watch for Declan McDonnell from row 6 of the grid, the former low-cost and mighty mini champion, as the race gets underway then. It's an even start from the two front row men. Simon Roach unfortunately does not get the best of starts. He loses about 3 places as they go up towards Paddock Hill Bend for the first time, but it's a great start by Roberts from the outside of the front row of the grid. He's already into the lead of the race, head of Kirkcaldy. 2 drivers off though. It looks like one of those is the 70 car of Ollie Clark. 7 is involved as well, and that's Matt Smith, who had a couple of 7th place finishes at Donington Park. But Ollie Clark, well, he's well stuck in the gravel trap there at Paddock Hill Bend, isn't he? Red flags out then here at Brands Hatch. No surprise, because that car of Ollie Clark only just at the edge of the circuit. Restart about to get underway. The red lights go out, and it's 10 minutes plus 1 lap of racing ahead of us. We're on board with Neil Roach. Simon Roach, his brother, has made a better start this time. It was a bad one from Neil, who's shaking his head. Declan McDonnell getting through there in the Macatak Racing car, the yellow, pink and black machine that started on row 6 of the grid. But again, a good start from Steve Roberts. He's ahead of Alan Kirkcaldy as they turn their way through Druids for the first time in this shortened race. James Winstanley, could see, didn't get a great start either. He was a little bit further back, I think, than he would have liked to have been, having started on row 4 of the grid. He's down to 15th or 17th position, something like that, as they make their way along the straight towards us once more. Surtees, you can see some spots of rain on the camera lens now, so the conditions are changing. This will be interesting to see how this affects the race. It's dry when the car's headed out onto the grid, so I'm sure they'll all have gone in for a dry setup. Here we are on board with Neil Roach then. He started in 5th, but he's well back down the order at the end of lap number 1. Some work to do. It's Declan McDonnell that he's trying to go around the outside of a Paddock Hill Bend using all of the road. He's using the curb as well, and I think that was just about fine. I don't think he went over the edge of the curb there, although it is difficult to tell from the onboard camera. The sophisticated sensor system that they have at Brands Hatch these days will enable the officials in the clerk of the courses office to know exactly what went on there. So Roach makes up one position there. He's past McDonnell now, but still got quite a few places to make up to get back to where he started. Battles going on in the midfield as well, but conditions getting a little bit treacherous now, certainly at this end of the circuit. Relatively small one, short circuit Brands Hatch, of course, so I should think we'll get fairly consistent conditions over the whole track quite quickly. But the wipers are on one or two of the cars. Over the line to start another lap then here at Brands Hatch, with Steve Roberts in the lead of the race, and Stanley actually a bit further up than I thought he was at first, so possibly not quite such a bad start for him. That's the 47 car we can see of Owen Hunter. There are our leaders, so Steve Roberts has about 3 car lengths in hand over Alan Kirkcaldy as they turn their way out of Graham Hill Bend and down the straight towards Surtees once again. Third place is Stuart Voice, who of course was the runner-up in the championship last year. Some of these drivers having their first race of the day, others having their second and final race of the day. Simon Roach, you can see at the back of this little group. Stuart Voice is about to be attacked, and it's Eric Zaleski that's going to go through on the inside there. Michael Gray is going to follow him. Simon Roach is joining the queue as well, but it looks like there's a bit more power for Stuart Voice's car. He's got his nose back in front of Zaleski, and yes, he holds on to third position for the moment at least. So it's Voice from Zaleski, Gray and Roach in this particular battle. I think that Simon Roach is very relieved to be out there at all, and he's made up one place. He's gone around the outside of Gray. It was a good run out of Paddock Hill Bend. He's still got his nose in front as they drop back down the hill. And has he made it stick? No, he's not. Gray gets back through. They're slowing one another up, and that's allowing Simon's brother Neil to get back into contention as well. So that'll be a 5-car battle for third place before too much longer. So it's Voice at the head of this group, Roach at the rear of it, Neil Roach that is, Simon Roach in the silver car, attacking Gray, trying to find the inside line through Clark Curve. Still not too much to choose between the race leaders though. Steve Roberts not really able to shake off Alan Kirkcaldy here. Tipping down the hill. Wonderful circuit, Brands Hatch, plenty of gradient, a real challenge for drivers. Up to the right-hander comes Michael Gray, and he takes the place away from Zaleski. So it's Zaleski that loses out there. The Polish driver, now based in Redditch, loses out. He goes down to 5th place, having qualified on the second row of the grid for this one. So what we can do later on in his second race, race 3 of the day. It's McDonnell coming towards us. Last race in Formula V 4 years ago now. On board with Neil Roach. His brother ahead of him is about to attack Zaleski for, what's this going to be, 5th position, isn't it? Is he going to make it stick? He's got the car all the way alongside, but sometimes the higher line can pay dividends into Paddock Hill Bend. You can see the Polish flag actually on the top of Zaleski's car there. And it has worked for Simon Roach. It's not worked yet for Neil though. See if we can make it through shortly. So it's McDonnell there who's in 8th position at the moment. There, a bit further back, is James Winstanley. That's the Gavin Tabor car possibly that he's just behind. So Stuart Voice has made his escape again from this little group of cars. So he's cemented his 3rd position again. It's a gap back now to Gray in 4th place, Simon Roach 5th. Here's McDonnell, who's got cars queuing up behind him now. Bryce Greenwood, I think, is in there. Possibly Matt Smith as well. Back on board with Neil Roach, who senses the opportunity to do to Eric Zaleski what his brother Simon did not so long ago, but there's not a lot of space there between Zaleski's car and the pit wall. I think Neil Roach has made it stick, and he goes up one place. He's now in 6th. Zaleski slipping to the rear of that group. James Nutbrown I can see in that group of cars, number 88, the white car with the green roof. Someone making a bit of a move down the inside. It's all gone wrong for them. That was Jim Benson, who had an off in the first race. More out-braking action up at Druids. There's not a lot of grip on the grass now, and Ollie Clark, who managed to take the restart having been beached in the gravel originally, has had another moment. Clark, the Brentwood-based driver, who's done some team trophy and track day trophy racing before this. There's Darby, you can see out there with the patched up police liveried car, number 47 in the middle of the shot. Just behind him there was Owen Hunter, the 2012 Saxmax champion for junior races. In his second season, someone else on the grass on the way into Druids, and they're going to stop. Yes, he is in the end, and that's number 26, which is Mark Morton, who had an instant pack race at Donington Park. And he's continuing in very much the same vein here at Brands Hatch. Oh, and problems for our second place man. Alan Kirkcaldy has had a spin. He's dropped right back down into the pack because that's Declan McDonald who gets past him as Kirkcaldy struggles to get back up speed, having to go up the hill as well, of course. And someone else is off too over there in the distance. And that is Mark Morton again, isn't it? So that's 2 spins in the space of a lap for him, I'm afraid. There goes Stuart Voice, our third placed man. Steve Roberts, number 56, continues to lead this race. He's now on the last lap, but he's now got no pressure from Alan Kirkcaldy after his moment at Paddock Hill Bend a lap or so ago. Steve Roberts ought to be able to stroke this one home for his first victory of the season. The champion went winless at Donington Park for the opening round of the season. Roach you can see filtering through there. There's Michael Gray, Eric Zaleski, Declan McDonald at the head of the next pack, and look, it's side by side just behind. Bryce Greenwood is involved and Matt Smith as well. Jim Benson once again spectacular through Druids. I think someone's kicked up some dust and dirt as well down there at Paddock Hill Bend. So Matt Smith has made it ahead of Bryce Greenwood in the Rutec International car. Greenwood trying to find a way back through that plain black liveried machine just behind Declan McDonald there. And I can tell you Steve Roberts is making his way up to the checkered flag, but we're sticking with this battle for the moment because it's going to be Declan McDonald. Is he going to be able to hold on here to 7th position? I think the checkered flag has gone out to Steve Roberts, I can tell you, and he goes through to take the win further back. Yes, 7th is held in the end by Declan McDonald, but the win going the way of Steve Roberts. And here is the official result then. The margin over Stuart Voice was just 1.16 seconds in the end. Simon Roach was in 3rd, Neil Roach 4th, Michael Gray 5th, and Eric Zaleski 6th. McDonald, as we saw, winning the battle for 7th.
Steve Roberts, a return to winning ways here at Brands Hatch.
Yeah, I'm overjoyed because we were struggling a bit at Donington, so but it's a bit of a blessing in disguise having the wet weather qualifying this morning, or the damp qualifying, and allowed me to get it on pole. So that's what saved the day really, because there's a few faster guys behind me, but I drove a very wide car today, so pleased with that first win.
Absolutely, but Alan gave you a really hard time right from the off.
Certainly did. He's bloody quick considering he's not even tested, so he was up to speed in lap 2 of race 1, so I knew I was going to be in for a fight. And he certainly gave me that, but he just made a mistake a couple of laps from the end, which gave me the breathing space that I needed.
Excellent, well done, Steve. Okay, Stuart, 2nd position in the end. Are you happy with that?
Yeah, happy with that. We got a good start in both restarts we did, and we just kept on going for it. But it's just a shame that we couldn't qualify well with the 2 grids, but it's how you got to go, and we just end up pushing. Just got to set the car up a bit more differently for the second one, but it's good, it is, yeah.
Absolutely. Steve was just a little bit further up the road today. He'd got a bit more pace over you this weekend.
It's quite a tight field round here, it is. Everybody's quite evenly matched. If you can just get a slight better start and pull away, I could see he was getting tangled up with their second place, number 11, and I could just slightly close the gap. But it was good, it was, and then he lost it in the paddock night, the back ride out, so I lost that advantage. But thanks to all my sponsors and AW Track Support for getting me here, so it's very, very, very good.
Well, Simon, I guess this is a day that you're not going to be forgetting in a hurry, is it?
No, not really. It's not after this morning anyway. It's sitting on my roof in qualifying, and then put a new screen in. I think the windscreen's still going off. It's taken hours to cure, and of course it's only been in there 15 minutes, and all the smoke from all the oil that's got in it, and so it's popping and banging on the start, but I made it stick. It was all right.
And third place, I think that's your first podium in the compacts, isn't it?
It is. Yes, I'm very chuffed with that. I managed to equal Neil, who got a third last year. I'd really like another one, but from fifth, I think I'll struggle from there. I think.
It's been a difficult first couple of rounds because you had to start at the back for both of the races at Donington as well, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. Through no fault of my own, I qualified best I could in with the MR2s because there wasn't enough space, or they counted in the wrong number of cars, and so they didn't have a time for me. So being as I haven't got a time, I'm going to start from the back, and I had to fight my way from there.
But you've shown now that you've got the pace, a podium finish here, so for the rest of the season it's looking pretty good.
For the rest of the season, hopefully we can get some more time out of the car, move a bit further up the grid, and maybe this should be our permanent spot. I'd love that to be.
The third and final race of the day is going to be run in wet conditions, and it pitches our two winners from earlier on, Steve Roberts and Alex Dew, together on the front row of the grid. Second row will be Eric Zaleski and Daniel Kirby. Third row, Simon Roach and Mike Tovey. Fourth row, Stuart Voice, who was on the podium in the last race, and David Drinkwater. Row 5 is Ollie Clark and Jonathan Davis. Lights out, away we go. Slightly tentatively this time because the track conditions are as bad as they've been all day here at Brands Hatch. The rain coming here later into the afternoon, so the drivers a bit of a step into the unknown really. How much grip will there be? Good start by Alex Dew. Steve Roberts is behind him in second position, but a few of the cars just twitching a little bit as they make their way up towards Druids for the first time, and these Marangoni tyres will have their work cut out to deal with these very difficult wet conditions now. The second meeting of the season for the Compact Cup, and it's reduced visibility for Eric Zaleski here, who Stuart Voice gets out of shape and collects Zaleski there. Now how Voice got out of shape in the first place I know not. It might have been the case that he had some contact that put him out of kilter. Let's have a look. Further back, yes, it was at Graham Hill Bend, and the back just stepped round on Voice's car all on his own, and that sadly punted poor Zaleski off. I don't think there was any particular intent there, but it was just these difficult conditions that meant that Voice possibly lost a bit of grip there. On board with Simon Roach then, starting again on the third row of the grid. Had a podium early on, but is losing a few places here, including to number 88 James Knockground, the former Intersteps and Clio racer, and the recovering Zaleski as well. So I suggest all is not well with Simon Roach's car just at the moment. And that was Ollie Clark, who was off a couple of times in the previous race, making his way through as well. So Roach has a problem possibly. Steve Roberts it is that is now leading the race then. He's got back ahead of the LED Lenza entered car of Alex Dew. In third place is David Drinkwater. So Roberts it was that won race 2 of the day here at Brands Hatch. Can he make it the double, just as David Drinkwater, that man there in the red car, did at Donington Park a month ago? Drinkwater, who finished 26th in the championship last year, but that certainly wasn't representation of his pace. Went particularly well here at Brands Hatch, was very quick here, but after damage in one meeting he wasn't able to complete the season. Daniel Kirby's there in 4th place in the white and orange car, number 28. Man who had a best qualifying last season of 3rd, but he was on the 2nd row here as well today. He's got a bit of a gap back to the battle that's going on for 5th and 6th just at the moment, which I think involves Mike Tovey. There's Kirby, and yes, Tovey's involved there, and so is Stuart Voice after we sideswiped poor Eric Zaleski on the first lap of the race. Lap times have been hit quite noticeably in these conditions. It's around 9 or 10 seconds off what we were seeing earlier on. There's not a lot of sign of the conditions improving at the moment. Out front, well, Windscreen shouldn't be too badly hampered, your visibility should be quite good, but Zaleski with the wipers working, overtime here. He's trying to recover some of the ground that he lost on the third corner of the race. Zaleski, number 16, the engineer at Land Rover, finished 13th last season. That was his first season of racing. Missed it, I think, as well on the windscreen, which you tend to get in these conditions. He has got the passenger window open a centimetre or two to try and add a bit of air in to alleviate that particular problem. Is he going to find a way through on the inside? No! Just as he's challenging there, Zaleski, the back of the car, steps round. Again, he's pointing in the right direction again, but he's lost a lot of places. He's behind Declan McDonald and one or two others. I think that's Simon Roach as well, who's recovering, but is back ahead of him again. And so Zaleski now alongside the number 52 car, which is that of Tim Gibson. Roberts then making his way across the timing line once more, starting to get in amongst the traffic in this race. I'm sure there'll be a little bit of lapping, but there shouldn't be too much, of course. It's a relatively short race, 13 minutes plus 1 lap. Alex Dew, though, has not given Steve Roberts a great deal of respite during the course of this race so far. Led initially to Dew, but it didn't take Roberts too long to get into the lead of the race. Look at them both taking the very wide line there at the Druids hairpin. It's away from the conventional lines and where you'd normally apex it. Look again through Graham Hill Bend that you would have seen if we'd stuck with it, them going relatively wide through there as well. Just trying to find the parts of the circuit which have a bit more grip, which are different to the bits that have grip in the dry. That's the 27 car again of Jonathan Davis with Zaleski on his second recovery drive of the race, trying to get a way through. So there's Dew behind number 56. Steve Roberts then, the champion last season, the former champion in Formula Ford racing as well, about a decade ago now. Plenty of experience under his belt. Comes over the line, and this time through they get the last lap board. So Dew's got 1.2 miles to try and find his way past Steve Roberts, but I know that Roberts will not be making it easy for him. Dew trying to get a good run out of Paddock Hill Bend there, up towards Druids, but of course in these conditions passing is made that a little bit more difficult. There's Simon Roach, behind him is Kevin Denwood. The 83 car in there as well is Matt Fazy. Denwood going a bit wide, someone else getting sideways as they come in towards Clark Curve. Fazy, who went pretty well on his debut at Donington Park. Back to our leaders then. There's Alex Dew in second place. How far is he behind Steve Roberts? About 2 car lengths, but we were taking opportunities of running out. Fazy and Denwood there putting a lap on a couple of other cars. It's just outside the top 10 here. Up towards Druids they go for the final time in their race. There goes Simon Roach. Denwood spins around, I'm afraid. The man that was 5th last year. He's not having a happy round of the championship here at Brands Hatch. Meanwhile, up to the line to take the checkered flag comes Steve Roberts, and he narrowly beats Alex Dew to the checkered flag. Drinkwater comes across the line in what is a distant 3rd position in the end. In 4th place it's Mike Tovey and James Nutbrown, in the end making his way up into 5th position. Daniel Kirby there crossing the line, he's 7th. Did get a little bit spread out towards the end of that race with the difficult conditions possibly accounting for some of that. Let's have a look at the results then. Steve Roberts winning by less than 0.2 of a second from Alex Dew. David Drinkwater was in 3rd position. Tovey, Nutbrown and Voice completed the top 6. Further back, Kirby 7th place, matching his result from earlier on. Eric Zaleski 8th after his various travails.
Steve, not just 1 win today but 2. Must be very pleased with that.
Very pleased, yeah. And I've got to just say a massive thanks to my brother Phil and Rich. And everybody who's worked in the car, Mike Goodwin back at the BMW specialist.co.uk, you know, they've really worked in the car since Donington, and we've made a step forward. I've got to thank AW Track Sport for their support while they're here as well, and all my sponsors, you know, Trade Price Cars, Essex, because without them they wouldn't be here on the grid this year.
Okay, Alex, another podium finish. Happy with how it's gone?
Yeah, it was a dream really, considering where where we were last year. Coming into this year, we sort of started off with podium in every round, every race. So yeah, more than happy.
Okay, David Drinkwater, well, you had a double win at Donington, but you couldn't quite repeat that form here at Brands Hatch.
No, not today. Bit of a disastrous qualifying. Simon rolled his car, brought the red flag. He's all right, thankfully, but yeah, kind of killed me. So I was starting back in 7th or so, and yeah, it was hard work today. But happy with 3rd, I must admit. So.
Well, despite getting fastest lap in the final race, David Drinkwater is now 1 point behind Steve Roberts in the championship. Stuart Voice and Alex Dew a further 2 points back, level pegging in 3rd. Well, the next round of the championship takes place on the Snetterton 300 circuit at the end of May. Join us then. Bye-bye for now.